looking at this Unit 3 final review, our first 4 questions include us having to solve equations. So we want to solve for x for all of these. To do this, we're going to go back to our don't call me after midnight. So don't call me after midnight is going to go on the side of my paper, and to remember what those were, the D was for distribute. So that would be our first step in solving equations. Our second step was to combine like terms. Combine like terms. The M was to move the variable to one side. So move variable to one side. The A was to either add or subtract. And M was to multiply or divide. Multiply or divide. So I will be using this as I try to solve these next questions. So I'm going to first start off by writing that on the side. So for this first one, we have 4x plus 10 is equal to 18. I don't see any parentheses, so I won't need to distribute anything. I don't have any like terms that I need to combine. I don't need to move my variable, but I will have to add or subtract something. I want x to be by itself, so that means that I need to get rid of this plus 10. And to get rid of it, I have to do the opposite of what's being done to it right now. So since it's being added, I need to subtract 10 to both sides. Plus 10 minus 10 would just leave me with 0. So on my left side, I'd be left with just 4x. Bring down my equal sign. I need to solve for 18 minus 10. So 18 minus 10 is 8. To get x by itself, I will need to multiply or divide by something. If the 4 is being multiplied by the x right now, I will have to do the opposite of multiplication, so I'll have to divide by 4 onto both sides. 4 divided by 4 is just 1, and I still have my x. So I would have 1x is equal to, solve for 8 divided by 4, and I would have 2. So x is equal to 2. Looking at this second problem, I'm going to write my DCMAM on the side. I see parentheses, so I need to distribute. I take my outside number and multiply it by everything inside. So 2 times x is 2x. 2 times a negative 6 is negative 12, equals 2. Now I need to distribute the 3 to everything on the inside of the parentheses, so I'd be left with 3x minus 21. I don't have any like terms that I need to combine on this one, but I will have to move one of my x's over. I'm going to move the 2x so that I'm left with a positive x. So on the left side, I'm left with negative 12, because those cancel out. 3x minus 2x just leaves me with 1x, and I still have to bring down my minus 21. Now I need to get x by itself, so I'll need to add or subtract. If I have 1x minus 21, I need to do the opposite of what's being done to the 21. So I'll have to add that to both sides. So on the left side, I would be left with a positive 9. And the 21's cancel, so it would be 9 is equal to x for my final answer. Moving on to the third problem. Write down my DCMAM. Bring my line down. I see parentheses, so I'm going to distribute. 3 times x, 3x, 3 times negative 6 is negative 18. Bring down my equal sign, and I'm just going to rewrite everything on the right side. My next step would be to combine like terms, which I have my 5x and my negative 2x. So when I combine those things together, I would be left with 3x. Bring down my plus 10. And then I'm going to bring down everything on my left side. My next step would be to move the variable over, which I need to do in this problem. So I'm going to subtract this 3x, move it onto this side. 3x minus 3x is just 0, minus 18. Then I also have 3x minus 3x on this side, which leaves me with 0. So then I would have negative 18 is equal to a positive 10, which is not true. So my final answer would be no solution. On the side, I'm just going to write us a reminder that when something is not true, we get no solution. Say that we got, instead of negative 18 is equal to 10, we got 10 is equal to 10. This is true. So then we would have got infinite solutions. Infinite solutions. We have one more problem for us to solve. Start off by writing, don't call me after midnight. Before we can solve this one, we will have to do our butterfly method or cross multiply. So that means we're going to multiply our diagonals by each other. So looking at this one, I'm going to start off by writing everything in parentheses. So I'll put my x minus 2 in parentheses, and it's being multiplied by 2. Then I have 7 multiplied by x minus 9. So looking at this, I will have to distribute. I'm going to distribute the 2 to everything inside the parentheses. So on the left side, I'd be left with 2x. Negative 2 times 2 is negative 4. I need to do the same on the right side. I'll distribute the 7 to the x and the negative 9. So I'd be left with 7x minus 63. No like terms for me to combine. Oops. But I will have to move my variable. I'm going to subtract 2x on both sides. 2x minus 2x just cancels out. So on the left side, I'd be left with negative 4. On the right side, 7x minus 2x leaves me with 5x. Bring down the minus 63. Then I need to add my 63 onto both sides so that I have x by itself on one side. When I do that, on the left side, I'd be left with 59 is equal to just 5x. Then I need to divide by 5 on both sides, and I would be left with x is equal to 11.8. Let's move on to our final question, which is a word problem. So it says that Stephanie likes to make and sell necklaces. She charges $18 per necklace and her materials cost $90. On A, it asks us to write an equation that gives Stephanie profit P based on the number of necklaces she sells in. So whenever we are working with word problems, it would be helpful for us to remember that when we're writing them, we think about some number with the variable x plus or minus some other number. This front number happens over and over and over. And this number over here just happens once. So setting up my equation, I will need to remember that. So if it says that she charges $18 per necklace and her materials cost $90, the $18 is what happens over and over. And the $90, I just have to spend that one time. So this only happens once. So that means that the 18 will go with my variable. If I'm talking about necklaces, I have to use N. So it would be 18N. I don't know if it's going to be plus or minus yet, but I will know that it's going to be something $90. It says that it cost me $90, so a subtraction sign would show that. And then I've used my N, but I also need to use P now for profit. So all of this, if I get $18 per necklace and I subtract my material cost of $90, that would result in my total profit that I would gain, or Stephanie would gain. Looking at B, I need to evaluate if Stephanie sells 9 necklaces, how much will she profit? So in my previous example, N stood for necklace, and P stood for profit. If she sells 9 necklaces, that means that I could just plug 9 in for N. So taking my equation from above, I can plug 9 in for N, and that would tell me how much of the profit that I would make. So after I solve that, I would have to do 18 times 9, which is 162 minus 90 is equal to my total profit. Once I subtract 90 from 162, I would be left with a total of $72 for my profit. But since this is a word problem, let's make sure that we write this answer in words. So my question asks, how much will she profit? So I'll write she will profit $72.